All right, here we go. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Positive Vibes. It's your girl Trey Lou here in the house. I finally got CEO Charles Harris in the building. Not in the building, but he's where he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be doing something else, but I'm not going to tell y'all. But
I'm in the
anyway,
house.
Charles, thank you so much for being part of Positive Vibes on this morning. I know you have a lot of positivity to share with everyone in regarding all the stuff that's going on right now and regarding health, wellness,
All,
fitness.
all that
How
mental
are you, man?
health.
God
I am
bless you.
amazed. I am amazing. God bless. Happy Fit Friday. We call this Fitness Fridays, right?
Absolutely. Well, other people call it Happy Hour Friday, but we're not going to talk about that
Well,
right now, right?
we on the East Coast. It's only 10:30, so it's you can't get happy until at least 5 o'clock.
And people don't care about that.
That kind of happy. Be happy all the time, more than 1 hour. That,
They don't even care.
I know. You
Somebody
know.
woke up with a drink in their hand, but you know what? Hey, we're not going to judge them, right? We
Hey,
are not going to judge.
been there, done that in my life. Can't judge anyone. Just gotta keep it moving and
Hey,
get better
you
each.
know what, Charles? I'm not going to judge either. I've been there too, where
Yeah.
I remember there was nothing else cold in the refrigerator, and I was like, dang, I had been out already, and it was the only thing that was left was a beer, and
Right.
I'm like, it was cold, it was like a Pepsi. But anywho, on to health
Exactly.
and health and wellness. First question I have for you, Charles, is what inspired you to seek a healthier lifestyle, and at what age did you do that?
Well, I've been pretty much working out all my life. I was active in high school, neighborhood sports. Love baseball, love football. So I've been active pretty much since I can remember. When I hit in my late 20s, I used to go to the gym pretty much every day. Believe it or not, I used to work out more when I wasn't a trainer because I was
Wow.
at the gym. I was at the gym all the time. In my basement, I had those the weights with the plastic cement. It was cement and plastic over the top. Old school.
Mhm.
That's way before your time. But we had those kind of weights, and I just always felt, even in the rough areas of my life growing up, I always would, go to a health and wellness to always get me through. So I've been doing this as a career for 24 years. Next year, will be 25.
Wow.
So I've been self-employed 25 years, peaks and valleys, good moments, bad moments. You know how it is when you work for yourself. I had been to
Yes.
the othermost to the guttermost, but I'm still standing, still standing,
Amen.
and still
And
keeping
you
steady.
have and Charles, you have a gym, and we know with COVID and all these things, the gym had to make some changes. However, you have maintained you have maintained your clients and even gained some new clients in doing exercise the customized way that you chose. And on your website, if people would can see the website at the bottom of the screen that's scrolling, they can go and see all the great things that you are doing and have been doing, and you haven't stopped. So I commend you on just your persistence and your consistency. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you how Charles back in, I think it was 2012 or 13 or something like that, sent me, we talked, I seen him do some of his things, and he sent me a book regarding health and wellness and things like that. And we've been friends ever since. So Charles,
Yes.
thank you so much for that, because you pretty much helped me to keep myself together fit wise. And I was supposed to go to your gym several times, and because of work and being a
Right.
single mom and things like that, I just hadn't had the chance to. But you know what, Charles? I want to thank you because you've always found time to say, to give me some inspirational words and to encourage me as to, doing some fitness at home and things like that. Just being very understanding in regarding a single parent and things like that. So I thank you for that from the top of my heart.
Well, all trainers want clients like you. I wish I could duplicate you 100 times because all I really need to do is tell you to do something, and you just take the bull by the horns and do it. And not too many people can do that. So I can give you an instruction, and you go ahead and knock it out. Even that we're not close together, we train with a distance apart, but still,
Mhm.
you just take instructions and do it. And I wish we had more people like you.
Hey, well, you know, after this interview and things like that, we're making them right now, Charles. So get ready.
Yes, yes.
So, you know, let's get on to some more questions. And I haven't seen any questions up yet, but they may be coming.
Okay.
Now, while heart disease is one of the most causes of death amongst our people, how does cardio aid in turning that around? Because a lot of people, you know, they don't know.
Well, cardiovascular training is very important. As you know, 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with hypertension. You know, I eat right, you know, live right, don't smoke, don't drink. And basically what happened is it was hereditary. But I tell a person, you're not a prisoner to your genes.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and dad had hypertension, my grandma, my aunts and uncles, and I believe they just grew up in a time where food wasn't really, we didn't have as much information on, you know, salt, sodium, high fructose corn syrup. So it was mainly, you know, I think induced by nutrition. And I grew up eating the same way, pork chops, pig feet, fried chicken all the time. And we just didn't know any better. So basically, I said all that to say, I believe that exercise has helped me tremendously. Now my blood pressure is normal. Um, and basically, you know, what I do is cardiovascular really builds your heart. Weight training builds the lean muscle mass. So you need to do some type of cardiovascular training at least 4 to 5 times a week. And that doesn't necessarily mean going on a treadmill or getting on the elliptical or doing a spin bike or running a marathon. But even if you do 20 minutes a day in your neighborhood, that's going to help build your respiratory system, your heart, your lungs, and that will help your heart beat more efficiently, and that which helps in hypertension.
You know, and I'm glad you touched on muscle memory, because a lot of people have different myths about muscle and fat and
Yes.
things like that. You know, the people are not truly aware as to, you know, what muscle is and what fat is and why they weigh differently. Can you kind of enlighten them on that a little bit?
Can you say the last part again? You broke up.
I said, you know, a lot of people have different knowledge about muscle versus fat. You know, people think that muscle should be heavier and fat should be, you know, fat should not be as heavy. Why is muscle heavier than fat? And let's give them some more information, input in regarding that. I think it's like this density.
Well, I hear that question all the time. So I ask you a question. So if you have a pound of fat and a pound of muscle, what weighs the most?
They weigh the same.
There you go. So it's not a such thing as muscle weighs more than fat. A pound of fat and a pound of muscle is still a pound. So basically, what people mean by that is having more lean muscle mass on your body. So that depends on your lifestyle, your age, your activity level. Um, Depending on where you are, and there's different charts that you can look up to see what your lean muscle mass would be. But weight training is so important because lean muscle mass helps your energy level, builds your immune system, builds your cardiovascular system. So even I tell women and men too, but women tend to do more of the cardiovascular Zumba classes, group fitness classes. They
Mhm.
run, which is great. But all my clients that build muscle, that's when they start really getting the maximum results. Their body starts to sculpt. They lose
Mhm.
weight. They say, I've been running, I've been doing classes for all these years. Why, after 6 weeks with you, training with you, I look different and feel different? It's just because they do the weight training. It's another myth that women feel like if they lift weights, they're going to be big like a man and bulky and lose that. They're not going
That's
to be
good.
as you're going to be feminine, sexy looking, sculpted, healthy looking when you lift weights. So you gotta lift weights, ladies. That is the missing link for a lot of people. Is the weight training.
So then the question would be, Charles, then, when you're talking about lift weights, I know that, you know, they said you can get dumbbells like 5 pounds, 10 pounds, and it will do, so it will change your muscle mass. Now me, and it's funny when you said that, I think you were talking to me in regarding lifting weights and looking like a man and things like that. And one thing I've noticed, and, you know, I've always had, like right now, Charles, you know, at the age of getting ready to turn 50, I am my high school weight right now. Now,
Wow.
I always thought that, you know,
Congratulations.
I was like, well, wait a minute, you know, then I would see women and they look great, weight training, things like that. But I was always like, but I don't want to lose my boobs. I don't want to lose.
Yeah, I get that.
It seems like they don't have any. What happens?
Well, that's for extreme weightlifters. And when you look at fitness competitions and women that are doing like physique training or bodybuilding, they tend to build their pectoral muscles. And again, if you train to do a bodybuilding contest, you will, lose your boobs and like that. But if you just have like
I mean, put you on
really,
front right now. Somebody's asking.
right. But this typically, somebody that's lifting weight 3 or 4 times a week, you won't get that big. A lot of women that's doing bodybuilding competitions, they're using supplements to help them build that lean muscle mass. But the average person that just want to stay healthy, just for everyday life, don't have to worry about losing your boobs or getting really huge, big muscles. It's not going to happen.
Now, you also have a drop 10 detox. Tell us about that. What's going on with that? What's the drop 10 detox?
Well, we have a 3-day detox. We have a 10-day detox. What that consists of, with new clients or with anyone that's really starting a brand new program, I always recommend a 7-day cleanse. Just to cleanse your body first, to get all the impurities out, break some bad habits with your eating, get rid of some sugars and salts, then start a new program, because 80% of what you do is nutrition. So it's no need to start a program with a trainer if you're not going to eat right. And I know some of this stuff takes time, but at least you have to have the mindset to not go to the gym 3 times a week with your trainer, then after that go to KFC. So that just not going to add up. So that's why we do the 10-day detox first, just to get all those cravings, all those impurities out your body. That way you starting off with a clean slate, and that's going to get you better results. And also, when you do a detox, you're going to lose a significant amount of weight. And normally, the number one motivator is results. So in 10 days, if you lose 5 pounds, you're like, oh my goodness, I lost 5 pounds, which is very significant. That keeps you motivated and fired up to stay with the program.
I totally agree, Charleston. We had a conversation, and with your input, and with your virtual and your talks and things like that, and regarding losing weight. And about 13 years ago, I lost 100 pounds with some of your expertise as well. And it's been
yeah.
I'm down. I'm still in that range of not really picking up extra weight, maybe a pound or 2, 4 or 5. But when I get off track, I get right back on and I shed those pounds off. And with COVID and things like that, and I haven't been to the gym. I've been walking, maybe an hour a day. I was walking about 10,000 steps a day, which was my goal a day. That's what I was doing. I haven't been to the gym. I'll say this, and I'm not trying to discourage people that are going to the gym. This just works for me. It worked for me. And regarding and also added to my healthy eating. I went to the gym probably about 5 times.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe 5 or 10 times, I'll say. But I would do like probably about 3 to 4 hours of cardio. I would walk. I would do an hour of cardio. I would do an hour of walking, and then I would do like maybe a half an hour to 45 minutes of like lightweight lifting. You know what I mean? That's what I would do, and it worked for me.
Yeah, I mean, right now, even if you can't get to a gym, it's very imperative, and I'm glad you brought that point up, even for mental health, because what we're going through with the uncertain times, pandemics, certain areas are hit harder than others. But I think we all going through this, together, and we are affected in different ways. Some financially, some physically, some mentally, some emotionally, and some all of these things that I just mentioned. So working out is definitely a great outlet, and there's so much that you can create in your own home. Even if you don't have weights, you have something that you can lift that can become a weight. So I believe that creativity, even the members of your house participating and just have some type of goal, instead of sitting back watching the TV all day long, looking at the news, being on social media. It's just too much negativity it will, you got to shut that off sometime and really look within yourself.
Yeah.
And fitness has always been a gateway for me and people I work with. I teach, this is a gateway to take you to another place. And fitness not, it's not only just lifting weights and running. It's, you know, meditation, it's stretching, it's just taking, you know, care of yourself, showing yourself self-love. So even if you pamper yourself, that's a part of health and wellness because you're taking care of you.
So then what do you have, what should one do right now? I know with this pandemic, there's people that have chosen to go to food as a source of comfort, and also drinks and alcohol and things like that. Some of those things also hinder your heart, they hinder your blood pressure, and diabetes, and a whole bunch of other things. So what roles, what do you think that what people can do right now to comfort them? And, you know, it's not to, I guess you used to want to say, I want to say is to, pretty much just to come in and to pretty much get them back from trying to go to comfort foods, comfort alcohol, and all those things. What can they do right now?
The first thing is not to have it in the house as much as possible. If you have potato chips, donuts, pretzels, popcorn, if you have that available in your home, ice cream, I mean, it's, you're going to fall victim to that if you have it in there. So you want to eliminate having it in your house. That's number one. Number two is portion control. So you can even have like your potato chips, your pretzels, your popcorn. If you have baggies, like little sandwich baggies,
Mhm.
you can put it in sandwich baggies. And that's kind of like you treating yourself, but you're doing it in moderation instead of always digging into the bag. Before you know, that whole bag is gone. So
I
basically, what you
totally agree with you, Charles. You are like 700% right. Let me tell you something that I used to do. And when I, you know, when I, on the beginning stages, when I started losing weight and started choosing to eat healthier, I would get bags, and I'll tell you, this is what I would eat. I would, you know, I would have, I gonna tell you exactly everything. But when I would treat myself, I would go buy like maybe some veggie chips or something like that.
yes,
But every time I bought whatever I wasn't supposed to eat in my meal diet that day, I would look at the back of the bag, and if it said, you know, 10 chips, you know, eat 10 chips, and you'll be in this, you know, you'll be in the zone of these many calories, this much fat.
yes,
I would take 10 chips, put them in a bag, and I would take
yes,
those and put them in my lunch and leave the other bag at home. And I was satisfied. And
yes.
also, Charles, what I did too, I had stumbled upon one day I was hungry and I had wanted something sweet, but I didn't want something like a chocolate bar. I found these, and you don't laugh at me, don't smack my hand either. I found these, it was like strawberry cream cheese muffins or something. And I don't really eat carbs all like that, but they were like really, really good and it was moist. But you know what I would do is I would just eat the top of the muffin off. And after that, I throw the whole muffin away. Serious, I'm like, if I would
Wow.
eat, but it was good. Let me tell you though, I still lost like, and I would eat one like maybe 3 times a week, maybe. But
Hmm.
I still lost, I was losing like 5 pounds, 7 pounds, and then, you know, a week in doing my exercises. So,
Wow. Wow. Okay.
but I was satisfied. I was like, wow, I had my little treat and I'm still, you know,
There you
eating
go. That's it.
healthy.
Hmm.
Wow. Now, look, Charles, I want to talk about obesity for a moment because
Okay.
I know a lot of people, you know, when they talk about their BMI and things like that, you know, the doctors may say you're obese. Obesity, some people think that obesity is what you look like, and it's far more than what you look like. Let's talk about obesity and what that means.
Well, it depends on once you have an examination with your doctor, they have a chart. I think that chart is designed for other persuasions, but anyway,
Mhm.
um,
I totally agree.
because yeah, basically, you can be obese and be my size, depending on what that chart says. So it's not like you say, you're not a person that is extremely overweight. It doesn't mean that anymore. Obesity depends on the individual.
Mhm.
Um, and that's why I believe that, you know, exercise is so important just to get your ideal weight, what feels comfortable for you. If you weigh 150 pounds and you, just like you said earlier, you have a threshold where you say, look, 155 is my limit. You know, 156, 157, 158, that's beyond where I need to be. So you need to cut back and have that little 5 pounds of wiggle room just to, you know, keep yourself on track. So I'm set all to say that obesity, don't base it on what a chart says, based on what you want your lifestyle to be, where you know what you need to be. Because this, even though we're doing this together, fitness, wellness, and your self-esteem is all like an individual work from the inside out. So you just have to set, standards and limits for yourself, not
Mhm.
for the person you see on TV, not the person you see on that magazine in the supermarket. What's
Wow.
your own limit? What's the place you want to be? You know where you feel good. You know when you feel sluggish. You know when you feel heavy. Just don't let yourself get to that point.
I'm glad you said that because a lot of people go into losing weight because of somebody else said, and then when
Yeah.
they fail, they feel even worse, or they don't do it for themselves. So I guess the question would be, what is your why? Why do you want to lose weight? Because I remember, let me tell you, I remember I was I was in that realm of losing weight and things like that. And I went to my doctor and I was down to, I think, like maybe 162 or something like that. But I looked at myself, I'm like, whoo, girl, you are thin, That's what I'm saying to myself. And when he had the audacity to tell me that my BMI was like off, he's like, no, we need you to get down to like 127. I'm like, ew, are you serious?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm 5'7.5". I'm 5'7.5". I'm tall. I'm tall. Me at 127 would look like I've been smoking
Right.
crack and some more. So I just kind of looked at him and I said, okay, yeah, all right, whatever. But I was feeling fine. I was about 5'7", 5'7.5". I was in a size, I think it was like a 10. 8, I was in a 10.
Hmm.
And I felt great. And it was good. And so when you say, when we're talking about the BMI, you are right. It depends on the
Yes.
persons that they're talking about, because me at 127 just wasn't happening for me. But
Well, they want me. They want me
I
to
say
be
all
at
that to say,
150.
my blood pressure was good, my heart,
Yeah.
my heart was great, and my the diabetes, all that stuff, the sugar was good. It was great. Tell us, a lot of people, think that eating carbs they don't know about carbs. How does carbs affect the brain? I know there's a lot of diets that, like with there's a lot of diets that remove carbs from the diet. I did do that one time, and my one of my friends in Maryland, her husband is a trainer. He's a personal trainer. He's also a
Mm.
professional soccer player. And
Okay.
when I went there, he said, "Wow, they were like, wow, you look great," because I hadn't seen them in about 5 years. He said, "What did you do?" And I told him what I did. And I told him I had stopped carbs. He chewed me out. And he was saying, and I didn't know. I'm like, well, what do you mean? He was saying that carbs, your brain needs carbs, right? So let's dig into that a little bit more in detail.
Well, it's two types of carbs. It's simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates. And the difference between the two is simple carbohydrates. You evaporate, burn it up really quickly. Examples of that would be, a candy bar, ice cream, a Snicker bar, Kisses, Reese cups. That's a simple carbohydrate. Complex carbohydrates are your pastas, your spaghetti, your brown rice, which stays in the body longer. Um, Carbohydrates are very important for energy because the body needs a source of energy, because what happens is your body burns fat in three ways. It burns, first it goes into the carbohydrates that you have in your body. Once it burns that source, it goes to your uh, the fat in your body. Then it goes to your muscle. So if you don't have carbohydrates in your body when you work out, you're going to burn fat initially. Then you're going to burn muscle, and you don't want to burn muscle. And that's why a lot of people who eliminate carbohydrates, they will lose a lot of weight, but they burn their muscle too. um, but to your question is, carbohydrates, especially simple carbohydrates, releases serotonin in the body. That's why you can eat a bowl of ice cream and feel like, oh man, it's more than an ice cream. It's a satisfaction of having that ice cream, because you release a chemical in the brain called serotonin, which relaxes the body.
Wow. So what about caffeine and things like that? How does caffeine affect the body when you're in the midst of losing weight? Because a lot of people go to those high energy drinks and some of those high energy pills and things like that. How do they affect the body when you're in the midst of trying to get healthy and exercise?
Well, I believe caffeine can be a good thing if you use it for that purpose. Caffeine definitely is an energy source. I do Starbucks every morning. That's just my treat for myself, just to help me get going, help me, move a little faster. But I wouldn't do high levels of protein, especially if you have heart disease, because caffeine does, you know, elevate the heart rate. So if you have issues with hypertension, that will definitely raise your blood pressure. If you do more caffeine. I don't know why I have protein on my mind, but more caffeine than what the body. I know. I need some. I need my egg whites.
You
So
better get
yeah,
some peanuts.
I know. I know. So caffeine is good and bad. You know, everything is good in moderation. So do your caffeine just enough to get you through a workout. If you get ready to run a race, you can do like a half a cup of caffeine that will help you be more energetic in that race. But just doing, an excessive amount of caffeine, once again, it's not good for your hypertension. It's not good for your heart rate because you don't want to have your heart rate elevated at a high level all the time.
Great answer. And one thing I do want to talk, like when you go to the gym, they have those machines that can monitor your heart rate. How efficient are those? How effective are those?
It depends on the machine. Some like pre-core equipment, not giving no accolades, but life fitness equipment. The high-end machines, I mean, they they have more of an accurate reading opposed to something you get from a sporting goods store. So depending on where you are, because you can touch one machine, it gives you an accurate heart rate, and you go to the next machine, it gives you another heart rate. So
Mhm.
I think you use these things as a gauge. Not saying that that number is carved in stone, but it comes down to how you feel. If you feel energetic, if you feel good within yourself, your numbers are going to be better based on how you feel.
And a lot of people, what I think what happens too, a lot of people, I've heard some stories where people have gotten on a treadmill, and a lot of people don't even know that they have heart issues or heart disease. They get on these treadmills, bikes, and even just exercising, they overdo it and they do not know. Why does that happen? Is it because they are using they're using their self-medicating and things like that? I know there's been a time where there were football players that were passing out because of cardiomyopathy and things like that. Do you know about cardiomyopathy?
Like a heart murmur, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically,
Heart muscle disease.
I think, I know that anytime at a certain age, you should always have an examination before you start any new fitness program to see if you have any issues, especially over the age of 40. Um, a lot of times we don't hear a lot, as far as athletes just all of a sudden dying on the basketball court, on the football field. That has happened because they have pre-existing heart issues, and some of these things you can't detect. It just happens. It's a freak accident. It's not saying that they did too much or they had too much caffeine or they did supplements. It's so many different factors that can cause that. We can't just say one thing caused that. It's unfortunate that it happens, but
Mhm.
I would say most people, everyone should always have an examination, especially if you're over the age of 40, you're African American, you smoke or drink before you start any program. Get the okay from your doctor. Then just start at a slow play, a slow pace, and a slow place. Walking around the neighborhood. You don't want to, get out after the age of 40 thinking you're 21 on a basketball court. Your mind will tell you you can do that, but your body say, look, that was 20 years ago. You're not able to move that way no more. So I would just start off slow in any program and just work your way up to the level where you can start being more aggressive.
Got your music playing for you.
Oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know what?
Get up, get
Okay,
up.
I want
Give me
to
10,
talk
give me
about
10, give me
water.
10.
I know, right? Let's get up, y'all. Let's get up and move, right?
Yes.
I want to talk about water. A lot of people don't like water, and I think I started moving too much. A lot of people don't like water. How much? And I was told that drinking half your body weight in ounces is a good level to judge when you're drinking water. And I do about or more 70 ounces plus water a day. What would you say as a personal trainer the water regimen will be? I know they said 8 ounce, was it 8 ounce glasses of water would do it. What would you say to that?
You already gave the answer. I teach that half your body weight in ounces because a person that's is 4 feet tall opposed to someone that's 6 feet tall and their weight can be 100 pounds different, they're not going to drink the same amount of water. You can't tell a person that's 6 feet tall to drink a gallon of water. Somebody 4 feet tall drink a gallon of water. That's just too much. So, you cut that in half. If you weigh 200 pounds, you should be drinking at least 100 ounces of water. So that's a good gauge. If you are active, if you work out on a regular basis, it should be more. You should increase that. A good indicator, if you go and urinate, if your urination is clear, that means you're drinking enough. If it has a color to it, and unless it's vitamins coming out your system, that's an indication that you dehydrated because of the color of your urine. Also, you should be going to the bathroom like every hour. It should be at the point like, I gotta go to the bathroom again. I just went to the bathroom. If you go into the bathroom on a consistent basis, that means you are well hydrated.
Amen. And also too, I'm glad you said something about vitamins. How important is it to take a multivitamin? Because I know a lot of people don't. I know that if you usually when people take multivitamins, the multivitamins is pretty much putting in their body what they're not feeding it. Is that correct?
Yeah, vitamins are very important. So women should be taking, calcium. So a multivitamin has all those ingredients that you need, but women should, be taking more calcium because of their bone density over a certain age. We're not getting all the nutrients that we used to get out of foods because foods are more processed now. So that's why supplementation is very important. Even if you do a protein shake in the morning, because a lot of people say, "Oh, I hate taking all these pills. I don't want pills." I respect that. So you can get protein drinks that have all those nutrients that a vitamin will have, and make sure you do that protein drink in the morning with calcium, with protein, with carbohydrates. That way, your body is getting the proper nutrients that it needs to function throughout the day.
Now, what are some good protein drinks?
I recommend Isopure. That's ISO. You can get that from any like vitamin shop. I have a company where I can get protein as well that I highly recommend. But the reason why I like the Isopure product because it has 40 grams of protein. You don't want a protein shake with a lot of carbohydrates, a lot of sugar because that's designed just to make you bulky for bodybuilders. So
Mhm.
just find a protein that has high levels of protein, at least 23 grams of protein with zero sugar.
And not to say that I'm not trying to curb anybody from eating any type of shakes or anything like that. One of the protein shakes that I really really love is the banana and peanut butter with a little bit of whey in it or something like that with some oats and things like that. I absolutely. And this is not even a plug. I'm sorry, I look like I froze. This is not even a plug for tropical smoothie, but it's just what I like. What type of protein shakes would you recommend for those who can't have the high sugar?
I would say create your own because you know what you like, what you don't like. You can go to any of the big department stores and they sell protein protein powder. But I would basically I do my own shakes when I can. I get the mixed berries. Berries are antioxidants like your
Mhm.
blueberries, strawberries, and your raspberries. So that's a good one just to use those three berries without adding apples, cherries, bananas. So that's not going to be high levels of sugars, but your body needs antioxidants just to release stress. And who wants to get rid of stress right now based on what we're going through? So you can
Amen.
do that. You can use your almond milk. You can use any type of 2% milk, 1% milk. So when you make your own protein shake, you know what you're putting in it.
And what about what about sweeteners? The sweeteners and stuff like that for the shakes. Are those good to put in your shakes?
I
If you
use
want to
honey
sweeten?
as Yeah, even when I do my green teas or my herbal teas, I very seldom use sugar. I use honey as a sweetener. Um, I don't like artificial sugars. Might as well use real sugar if I'm going to, if I'm going to do sugar, I'm going to do sugar because, you know, um, I think, not think, but I know that artificial sugar has a lot of substitutes in it to make it appear like it's sweet, but it's probably worse than having regular sugar because there's so many different ingredients in it, especially when you see that long name at the bottom that you can't pronounce or spell.
Yeah.
That's something that you know you don't want in your body. So I would say use honey as a sweetener. I would avoid doing any type of, sweetener that is artificial because sometimes that leads to other issues. And this, again, do everything in moderation. If you do a teaspoon of sugar instead of 10 teaspoons, you should be fine.
And you know what? Let's talk about the things. Christmas is coming up. It looks like my thing froze again. It'll come back.
Yes.
Christmas is coming up. What are some healthy Christmas items, Christmas food items that people can prepare or they can take away from if they're eating the regular big Christmas? I know there's turkey. There's people normally cook on Christmas and they can make turkey salads and those type of things. What are some of the takeaways from a big meal from Christmas that people can eat that's healthy?
Well, Christmas is normally like Thanksgiving dinner. It's just a different day. So we normally do the same things as far as ham, turkey, macaroni and cheese, green beans. So basically, I would do everything in moderation. Instead of doing fried, bake more. Instead of doing all the sugar, salts, and seasonings, try to eliminate that. And
Mm-hmm.
that is definitely going to cut back on some of the calories and some of the sweeteners that you would, normally do. I would eliminate the things, the desserts, the sweet potato pies, the ice cream, the pumpkin pies. A lot of people normally, drink more. They drink their calories. So try to, do portion control when you eat and drink, especially alcohol instead of high levels of alcohol. Just cut back a little bit, but just have a good time. Don't beat yourself up.
Right.
I always recommend one day a week, have a splurge day, really go for it. Friday is normally the day I have my pizza, my Chinese food, whatever, and I
Okay, so
work it
welcome
off.
Pizza
So
Hut today, right?
yeah, yes, 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 yes. So just have that one day where you really just go for it. That way you're not depriving yourself throughout the week. Because once you deprive yourself, no one feels like they want to deprive themselves. That's when you
Hmm.
start splurging, then you feel guilty, then you just say, forget this diet, forget eating healthy, I'm gonna go ahead and snack every day. But if you have yourself one day where you really go for it, and the other days you eat what you want, you should be fine. My philosophy is do 80% healthy, 20% of what you want, and that should be a good regimen for anyone. 80% healthy, 20% of anything you want.
Wow, that's good. Now, how much? Now we talk about alcohol and beer and things like that. There's a lot of sugar. What is the cause of the caloric intake of with alcohol? What's the cause of the? Because what's the cause? What is it? Is it the alcohol? The alcohol turns to sugar. Is that correct?
Well, that's true, but also alcohol slows down your immune system and your metabolism. So when you drink alcohol, of course affects your metabolism, which slows down, which prevents the body from burning the energy and the food that you already put in your body. So that's the one factor, and of course you know what sugar is in everything. So you have two enemies. You have alcohol that's slowing up your metabolism, and you have sugar that's going into your body that can't burn as fast and as much. And that way you gain weight by doing excessive amount of alcohol, beer, wine, hard liquor, whatever. So that's why it affects the body like that.
Wow. You know what? Also, Charles, I want to speak on exercise equipment and exercise clothing and things like that, so that you know that you're comfortable. I don't want to. We're not getting any plugs to any name brand shoes or anything like that unless we get paid for it. But
Right,
what is
right.
and a lot of people think that they cannot do exercise properly because they don't have the proper gear,
Well, I would always suggest, and like you said, we're not, name branding, but I would say a cross trainer would be a good shoe. A lot of people do walking shoes. They do shoes with no support, which could lead to injuries, especially your lower back and knees. So if you're out and about and you want a shoe, and you can go to any sporting goods shoe place, they can tell you where the cross trainer is. But a cross trainer is multi-purpose, which means you
Mhm.
can do your aerobics with that. You can do your weight training as well as walking your neighborhood. So you're getting a one-stop shop when you do a cross trainer. As far as clothing, you want to always wear something comfortable that you can move around in. If you walk outside, if you in an area where it's extremely cold, I would,
Hmm.
suggest doing the spandex material under, cotton. That way, when you sweat, your pores are not open to the outdoor elements, so you won't get sick. Always have a hat on when you walk, just to keep the head covered so you won't get sick out and about if it's cold weather. As far as exercise equipment, a lot of people are doing spin classes online. The bike sales have went up, which I think
Yes,
is a
they
good
have.
thing, because that's a good way to start because you're not doing high impact exercises. You're not jumping, running around. So it's a nice environment where it's safe. You can pedal at your own resistance level, so you're not really pushing yourself. And you can lose a lot of weight doing spin classes 4 or 5 times a week without really beating your body up. Um, I, I was also suggest just having some type of hand weights if you can find them. It's hard to find these days, but have at least 2 5-pound weights for your arms. Have one heavier weight for your back and squats. And when I say heavy, 10, 20, 25 pounds. So that way you're doing your cardiovascular training with the bike as well as doing your weight training. And there's tons of videos. I have a whole YouTube channel on how to work out at home. I have over 200 different videos on there, even doing stuff with, water bottles and canned goods
Mhm.
and water jugs, just to help you do some type of resistance training and some type of cardiovascular training.
So, and as far as like running and walking, I know there's a lot of people that can't run because they're getting older. They could, but people think that you have to be out there just sprinting like a 21-year-old or something like that, but not knowing that you can also fast walk, and you can also just do, the women sit ups, just small things at home to eat to keep up the pace that's for you. And everybody can't do exercise like everybody else. You have to do exercise for your own body.
Right. And I say that, working out, as far as working out, walking is number one. Most people can walk because even if you're not exercising, you got to walk to and fro if you leave the house, whatever. So walking is like a foundational place for people to start. If you really want to intensify your walking, like you said, you don't have to get out there and run a marathon, especially if you up in age. However, I always teach the Gallo method, which means walk a minute, run a minute, even if that's not a sprint, but just pick up your pace. So you look at your watch for 1 minute, you just walk normally. Minute number two, you just pick up your pace. Minute number three, go back to your normal walk. Minute number four, go a really, a faster pace when you walk, pumping the arms, moving the arms, whatever. And what that does is that's a style of interval training, which gets your heart rate up and down. When your heart rate is down, you burning fat. When your heart rate is up at its peak, you building your heart and your cardiovascular system, which what you said earlier, it helps to help with heart disease. So interval training is one of the best ways to burn fat and lose weight because you're getting your heart rate up to a high peak and taking it down.
Now, Charles, this just came to mind. I know a lot of people I know that they drive trucks for a living. What would you say to them that are driving trucks? 'Cause I know they drive long distances, and it's kind of hard for them to get out and do a lot of exercise unless they're taking stuff off the truck. If they even do that, I don't even know. But what would you say to them? What are some tips that you could give those who are truck drivers and driving long distances as far as healthy eating and how they can exercise?
Well, not even truck drivers, like Uber drivers now. People that, yeah,
True.
even myself, I'm all over the place as far as training. So I'm in the car a lot. So basically, I would say stretch. Anytime I get out the car, if I've been in the car for a long period of time, just do flexibility stretching. Pull your right leg back, left leg back, stretch your quads. Lean over, touch your knees, your shins, or your toes. Turn to the side like this, putting the hand up. So basically, if you drive a lot, flexibility is a part of being healthy. So you may not be able to lift the weights as much as you would like to, but at least you can work on your flexibility, which helps the body release tension, tightness, and stress.
Wow, that's awesome. And then I guess you would say for, everybody's home, a lot of people can't go to the gym and people are doing virtual schooling with their children. And there's a lot of small business owners that their businesses have closed their home. What can they do? I guess they can do it just like home. They can do it like if they were going to work, going to a gym. And even if they have steps in their houses, they can, take a break and, do about 15 to 20 minutes of, steps and things like that to, to keep the flow going in their body.
I would say, and I have tons of clients that's home now, working from homes for the last 8, 9 months. I do virtual training in people's home. However, I think the number one way and the number one thing you can do is meditate. Meditate is a part of being healthy, a
Hmm.
part of really tapping within. Um, I would say if you in a house full of kids, or you just, really when your foot hit the floor in the morning, you off running and you just don't have time to stop throughout the
Hmm.
day. I would say wake up 15 minutes earlier, find a nice quiet spot, even if you're in your own bed, and just don't do anything. Meditation can consist of, listening to music on your iPod, listening to the background of a clock ticking, listening to your breath. And a lot of people just avoid this. You feel like I need to work out, I need to do this, I need to run, I need to walk. But it all starts in the mind. The mind first. If you have a healthy mind, you're gonna have a healthy body.
I
So
totally agree.
if you don't hear anything else with this interview, find a meditation practice. It's important to what we're going through now. It will just it will take you to so many different levels. You're gonna find your energy level increase. You're gonna find your stress level decrease. You're gonna find your creativity level increase. Your social skills will get better because you're just releasing stress out of the body just by meditation.
So, Charles, let's talk about chiseling. I know we touched on a lot of topics here. How can one, because I know you're in Maryland, Baltimore, Maryland, and how can one be, if they're away from Maryland, if they could be at international parks, how can they get in contact with you and possibly book some time to do some personal training with you?
Well, we do. My information is scrolling across the screen, but we do training all over. I have clients that train from Trinidad. I have clients from East Coast, West Coast. It don't matter with modern technology. We can do Zoom. We can do, FaceTime training, which I do all the time. And a lot of people say you harder on the phone than in person. I say, well, it don't matter, because I just have the gift of motivating and pushing people no matter what the situation is. But don't use this as an excuse. I can't get to a gym. It's not in my budget. Let's use technology. We use it for everything else. We use
Hmm.
it for Facebook, Instagram. You spend 4 and 5 hours on your Facebook page, 4 and 5 hours on Instagram page. You can take an hour of that time with a trainer just doing a program. You can go to YouTube and do a fitness program on YouTube. So the information is there the same way we use those devices for so many things. In this day and time, we got to be creative and use our devices for health and wellness. Also, if you're in the Maryland, DC area, Virginia area, am still doing in-home training, training people in their garages. If they have a facility at their complex, if their complex is open, I just trained this morning at a person's gym in their complex. So we still doing, hands-on, social distancing, of course, safe environment. And also, like I said, we have different programs on Facebook, the Drop 10 Detox group. We have the Break 8 Detox group. We have the 3-Day Detox group. So you can be a part of these programs on social media, on our Facebook page, where you can be invited to these groups and do the program in the privacy of your own home.
Now let's talk about wearing masks and exercising. I know there were some people have some phobias, and they were saying that not they, but they, I've heard people talk about, well, you're not getting the right amount of oxygen while you're wearing masks and exercising. Let's talk about that for a moment, so we can help people to be a little bit more secure as to exercising with masks on, because you may have to do that.
It's really challenging if working out at a high intensity level. For example, if you're on a treadmill sprinting with a mask on, you're not getting that proper circulation. So what I normally do, I pull the mask down briefly. If I have someone next to me, of course I can't do that. I'm using wisdom. But if I have people that's 6 feet apart, it's no problem pulling that mask down just to, get that air circulation going, put the mask back on. But certain things you just can't do. You got to use, wisdom.
Hmm.
If once again, if you on the basketball court shooting hoops, it's hard to have that mask on. But um, I would say use your own discretion. However, you don't want to get to the point where you pass out because you're not breathing properly. So when your body is saying, look, let me take a breath of air real quick. Let me step away from the crowd for a minute, take some deep breaths, put my mask back on, and resume the program that you was doing.
Especially if you're feeling dizzy, right? That's like one of the number
Oh,
one
yeah.
key
You don't want to
factors.
get to that point. You should never get to that point where you feeling that way. That's why I say it's best just to step away from that crowd you're around, get some breaths in, put it back on, and just go back to what you were doing.
Sounds great, Charles. You know what? You've been very helpful, and I know that there's somebody out there right now that's getting ready to be hitting you up. So you better go get your helmet on.
I'm ready. I got my shoulder pads. I'm in Ravens territory, so we go hard, we go strong, we don't
Well,
stop, we don't
this is
quit.
my buddy. We just, we beat the Ravens the other day. But you know what? I was in Maryland for 25 years, so I got love for you, Charles. I'll send you some tissue.
I'll put my mask on. Here's my mask. You see my mask?
It looks like it has
I had
holes
to.
in it, man. Are you okay?
I'm good.
Better
I'm
not put
good.
it down. Somebody may use it for some tissue or give you to wipe your eyes. But you know
I
what? It was
know.
a good game, and I pray that some of the Ravens players are getting well. I know there are a lot of them were they had COVID and things like that. So our prayers are for the Ravens the Ravens fans, and also the Ravens players. They're still our brothers. They're still they're still
Yes,
our
yes.
brothers. So we still have to pray for them.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
can't
It's
be
a, it's a
enemies
game.
during this time. Yeah, it's a
Yes.
game. You're exactly right. So, Charles, you know what? I like that t-shirt. And if anybody wants a t-shirt, they can go to your website. Don't stop, don't quit. Won't stop, won't quit. I love it, Charles. Chizel, CEO, and also you're an author. We didn't talk about your books. How can we leave without
Every
talking about your books?
everything is on our website. You can always look me up. People go to my Facebook page more than anything else, so you can inbox me for any questions beyond this. If you have questions that you didn't want to ask, I know a lot of people probably looking at this later on tonight. It might be 12 midnight. If it's 12 midnight, this still applies to you. So
And it'll be.
basically,
I'll put it on my YouTube page as well, Charles. I'm sure you'll. I'll send the video over to you guys. Linda from Maryland. She's also that's one of my sisters. Her name is Linda. She's in Columbia, Maryland. She's watching. And we used to
okay, hey
exercise. We used
Linda,
to walk around. God, was it? We used to walk around the village in Columbia. We used to walk around there with our boys, and they were on their bikes.
I know exactly what it is.
Yeah. So, and I can never say the name. It's one of those Lake Kalatamalu, something. I can, the one that has the lake around it. But nevertheless, Charles, I don't want to hold you. I know you have a lot of things to get to. People are waiting for you for some exercise regimens. I know. I don't want to keep you long. Happy Friday to you, Charles. May God continue to
Thank
bless
you.
you, keep you safe, and I look forward to coming out there to Maryland and being a part of Chizel very, very soon.
Thanks for having me on. You have a great Friday. I look forward to talking to you soon. Keep doing what you're doing. You lead by example. You're a great example of health, wellness, mind, body, and spirit. So I'm so proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing, and the best is yet to come.
Thank you, Charles. God bless you, man. Take care.
God bless you. All right. Have a good
All
day,
right.
everybody.
Thanks. Bye bye.